Imagine waking up one morning at the age of 72, feeling fine, sipping your first cup of coffee, and planning to take a walk in the park. Everything seems normal, until later that week you find yourself sitting in a doctor's office, being told that a small infection, something you thought was nothing serious, has turned into a dangerous health problem. For many seniors, this scenario is not just a story, it's reality. Doctors around the world have been raising a red flag. The smallest things we ignore in daily hygiene, especially after the age of 70, can trigger infections that grow silently but dangerously. And the surprising part? Most of these infections start in body parts we never think about. In fact, geriatric studies in the United States and Europe show that seniors are more vulnerable to infections because of changes in the immune system after 70. A report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, states that older adults face higher risks from bacterial growth, often leading to hospital visits. What's shocking is that many of these cases could have been prevented if simple hygiene habits had been followed. Yet, too often, seniors focus only on the big things, like washing hands or brushing teeth, while neglecting smaller body parts that silently collect germs. Let me share with you a real story. Margaret, an 81-year-old woman from Denver, Colorado, loved gardening and meeting friends at her local community center. She felt strong, independent, and happy. But one winter, she developed a stubborn infection that started from something she ignored, the folds of her skin under her breasts and arms. The moisture and bacteria in those overlooked areas led to a fungal infection that made her weak, forcing her into weeks of hospital care. Her doctor told her, "Margaret, these little things can become the biggest dangers at your age." That sentence changed her life, and today, she tells everyone at her senior club to pay attention to body parts most people forget. Stories like Margaret's are not rare. Across America, thousands of seniors face infections every year that start from overlooked hygiene. Doctors now emphasize that cleaning 5 specific body parts daily is not just about feeling fresh, it's about survival, about maintaining independence, and about preventing hospital stays that rob you of precious time with family. These are the hidden things you must know, the habits you must build, if you want to enjoy health and freedom in your golden years. So stay with me until the end of this video, because we are going to uncover the truth together. I'll reveal the 5 most neglected body parts that seniors must clean daily, backed by science, real-life stories, and medical advice. Some of these will surprise you, and the last one, according to doctors, is the most critical of all. You may never look at your daily routine the same way again. Let's begin with the very first body part that doctors say seniors often forget, the feet, especially the spaces between the toes. At first, it might sound too simple. Really? Just the feet? But here's the surprising truth. After the age of 70, foot hygiene can make the difference between walking independently and being confined to a hospital bed. Seniors' older adults often underestimate how quickly bacteria and fungi grow in warm, moist areas like between the toes. And because circulation in the legs and feet tends to slow down with age, even a small infection can spread faster and heal more slowly. Take the story of James, a 76-year-old retired schoolteacher from Austin, Texas. James had always been active. He loved fishing and walking his dog every morning. But over time, he noticed an itch and redness between his toes. Like many seniors, he thought, it's just a little irritation, it will go away. He didn't pay attention to it, and he kept putting on socks and shoes without cleaning or drying properly. Within weeks, the redness turned into a fungal infection, and soon bacteria got into a tiny crack in his skin. James ended up in the hospital with cellulitis, a serious infection that required intravenous antibiotics. When he recovered, his doctor told him something he never forgot. For someone your age, these small things are never small. You must treat your feet like your foundation. Without them, your independence is at risk. Science backs this up. According to a study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, seniors over 70 are more likely to develop foot infections that lead to hospitalization compared to younger adults. The reasons are clear: thinner skin, weaker circulation, and slower immune response. In fact, data shows that more than 20% of seniors admitted to nursing facilities in the U.S. suffer from preventable foot-related infections. That's a staggering number when you think about how simple daily cleaning could reduce those risks. Doctors warn that seniors must wash and thoroughly dry their feet every day, paying special attention to the spaces between the toes. Applying a mild moisturizer helps keep the skin from cracking, while using clean socks daily prevents bacteria from building up. But this isn't just about health, it's also about freedom. Seniors who keep their feet healthy can maintain mobility, balance, and independence. Losing that ability means losing some of life's most joyful things: walking to the park, playing with grandchildren, or even just shopping at the local store without help. These are habits that most of us take for granted, but after a certain age, they become precious. That's why doctors insist, foot care is not optional, it's a daily must. Now, you might be wondering, if the feet can cause so much trouble, what about the other body parts? And you'd be right to ask. Because the next parts we're about to explore are even more surprising, and in some cases, even more dangerous. Stay with me, because what comes next might change the way you think about your daily hygiene forever. The second body part that often gets neglected, but is incredibly important for seniors' older adults, is the ears, especially the outer folds and behind the ears. Many people think ear care is only about removing wax inside the canal, but doctors emphasize that the danger often lies on the outside. After 70, the skin behind the ears tends to become thinner, drier, and more prone to collecting bacteria and sweat. If not cleaned regularly, this small area can lead to skin infections, fungal growth, and even ear-related complications that affect balance and hearing, two things most seniors cannot afford to lose. Let me share a real story with you. Helen, a 79-year-old grandmother from Tampa, Florida, was known for her sharp mind and lively storytelling. She loved hosting her family every weekend, cooking big meals, and laughing around the table. But one day, her daughter noticed a painful-looking rash spreading behind Helen's ear. At first, Helen dismissed it as just dry skin. A few days later, the rash turned into a painful infection that spread down her neck. When she finally went to the doctor, the physician explained that bacteria had built up behind her ear, an area she never thought to wash thoroughly. Helen needed antibiotics and had to cancel her beloved family gatherings for almost a month. "I never thought something so small could stop me from living my life," she later admitted. Since then, she tells her friends at church, "Don't forget behind your ears, it's a little thing, but it matters most after 70. Medical research confirms Helen's experience. A dermatology study in the Journal of Clinical Medicine revealed that bacterial colonies are most commonly found in areas where seniors least expect them, including the folds behind the ears. Seniors' older adults, whose immune systems are weaker, face higher risks when these bacteria enter the bloodstream. Even a mild infection can escalate quickly. Doctors strongly recommend gently washing behind the ears with warm water and mild soap daily, then patting the skin dry to avoid fungal growth. It's a small habit, but one that prevents much bigger health problems. Now, let me pause for a moment. We've already talked about feet and now the ears, two areas most people never think of as dangerous. But I want to know, are you still with me up to this point? If you are, go ahead and type number 2 in the comments right now, so I know you're paying attention and learning something new. And while you're at it, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel Golden Age Wisdom, and share it with friends or family who could benefit from this information. Trust me, these small actions help us reach more seniors who need this life-saving advice. And remember, what we've covered so far is just the beginning. The next body part on our list might surprise you even more, because it's something seniors often ignore until it's too late. Let's dive deeper into that in the next part. The third body part that doctors often highlight, and one that seniors rarely think about, is the underarms and the skin folds around them. For most people, the underarms are just about sweat and odor, but for seniors' older adults, they are a hidden breeding ground for bacteria and fungi. After 70, the skin becomes thinner and the immune system weaker, which means even mild irritation can quickly turn into an infection. The warm, moist environment under the arms is the perfect place for these microbes to thrive, and when left unchecked, they can lead to painful rashes, abscesses, or systemic infections. Let's look at a story from Chicago, Illinois. Robert, a 74-year-old former postal worker, prided himself on staying active even after retirement. He walked every morning, attended senior exercise classes, and believed he was doing all the right things for his health. But he often skipped properly washing and drying under his arms, assuming that deodorant was enough. Over time, he developed a rash that he ignored. That rash eventually became so painful he couldn't lift his arm without discomfort. When Robert finally visited his doctor, he was diagnosed with a bacterial infection that had spread into his lymph nodes. "I never thought something as simple as my underarms could put me in danger," Robert said later. His story became a wake-up call for his senior group, and many of his friends changed their hygiene habits after hearing what happened. Data backs up Robert's experience. According to the American Journal of Geriatric Dermatology, seniors are more prone to intertrigo, a skin condition caused by friction, sweat, and bacterial or fungal growth in body folds, including the underarms. The study found that older adults with reduced mobility or those who sweat less efficiently are at particular risk, since sweat lingers longer on the skin, creating moisture pockets where bacteria multiply. Doctors emphasize that the simple habit of gently washing the underarms daily with mild soap and ensuring they are completely dry afterward can drastically reduce these risks. In some cases, a medicated powder or antifungal cream is recommended for seniors with recurring problems. But here's what makes this body part even more critical: the underarms are located near the lymph nodes, which play a key role in the body's immune defense. When infections in the underarms spread, they can compromise the immune system even further, making seniors more vulnerable to other diseases. That's why experts say, what may look like just a rash could actually be a doorway to more serious health problems if ignored. So far, we've discussed the feet, the ears, and now the underarms, three areas that don't usually make it onto the most important hygiene list, but clearly have life or death implications for seniors. But what comes next is even more shocking. Because the fourth body part we're going to talk about is one that most seniors completely avoid out of discomfort or embarrassment, even though doctors insist it must be cleaned daily. Now we come to the fourth body part on our list, and it might make some seniors, older adults, feel a little uncomfortable to talk about: the groin area and the folds around the genitals. This is one of the most neglected areas when it comes to hygiene, mostly because of embarrassment or the assumption that it's fine as long as I shower. But doctors warn that infections in this region are not only common among seniors, they can also be some of the most dangerous. The reason is simple: moisture, warmth, and friction combine to create the perfect environment for bacteria and fungi. And after 70, when skin becomes thinner and immune defenses weaker, infections in this area spread more quickly and heal more slowly. Consider the case of Linda, a 72-year-old retired librarian from Portland, Oregon. Linda lived independently, enjoyed book clubs, and believed she had good hygiene. But she often avoided thoroughly cleaning the groin area because she felt embarrassed, even in the privacy of her own bathroom. Over time, she developed a persistent itch and redness, which she ignored for weeks. Eventually, the discomfort became unbearable, and she visited her doctor. Tests revealed a fungal infection that had spread and caused inflammation in the urinary tract. Linda needed antifungal medication and antibiotics, and she admitted later, "I thought I was being modest, but ignoring these things cost me my health." Her experience became a cautionary tale in her community senior group, reminding others that modesty should never come before health. Medical evidence strongly supports this warning. A study in the International Journal of Infectious Diseases found that seniors who neglect hygiene in the groin area are significantly more likely to develop candidiasis and urinary tract infections, both of which can lead to hospitalization if untreated. Doctors stress that daily cleaning with warm water and gentle soap, followed by careful drying, is crucial to avoid infection. Wearing clean, breathable underwear made of cotton can also help reduce moisture and irritation. These are not just optional habits, they are must-do routines for anyone over 70 who wants to maintain independence and avoid painful complications. And here's another fact many don't realize: infections in the groin area can quickly spread to the bloodstream if left untreated, leading to sepsis, a life-threatening condition. That's why doctors emphasize the importance of paying attention to this sensitive body part. Ignoring it doesn't just risk discomfort, it risks life itself. Now let me pause again and talk directly to you. Are you still with me up to this point? If you are, I want you to go down to the comments and type number 4. This way, I'll know you've learned something truly important today. And while you're at it, please like this video, subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom, and share it with someone you care about. Trust me, your small action could help another senior avoid a painful hospital visit. We've covered 4 parts already, but the journey isn't over yet. Because the final body part we'll talk about is perhaps the most overlooked of all, and, according to many doctors, the one that carries the greatest risk when ignored. Stay tuned, because what's coming next may surprise you more than anything we've covered so far. Finally, we arrive at the 5th and perhaps most surprising body part that seniors must clean daily: the nails, both fingernails and toenails. At first glance, nails may not seem like a big deal. Many people, especially after 70, assume trimming them every few weeks is enough. But doctors warn that nails are one of the most common hiding places for dirt, bacteria, and fungi. These microbes can easily enter the body through tiny cuts or cracks in the skin around the nail bed. And because seniors' older adults often have weaker circulation and immune systems, even a small infection under a nail can turn into something dangerous. Let me share the story of George, an 83-year-old retired mechanic from Cleveland, Ohio. George had always been known as a strong and capable man who fixed cars well into his 70s. But he admitted he never paid much attention to his nails. He thought they were just nails. One day, a small cut near his toenail became red and swollen. He ignored it, thinking it would heal naturally. But within a week, he was unable to put on his shoes because of the pain. At the hospital, doctors told him he had developed a bacterial infection that had spread into his foot. George spent almost 2 weeks on antibiotics, and doctors warned him that if he had waited longer, the infection could have reached his bloodstream. "I never thought something so small could almost take me down," George confessed. His story quickly spread through his local senior community center, reminding others that nail care is not cosmetic, it's essential for health. Research strongly supports George's case. A study in the Journal of Foot and Ankle Research found that fungal nail infections affect nearly 20% of seniors over 70, and these infections are not just cosmetic issues. They can cause pain, mobility problems, and, in severe cases, secondary bacterial infections. The same study revealed that seniors who neglected nail hygiene were significantly more likely to develop cellulitis, a serious skin infection. Doctors stress that trimming nails regularly, cleaning under them gently, and seeking medical care at the first sign of redness or swelling are habits that must be prioritized. Nail infections might not sound as dramatic as lung problems or heart disease, but here's the reality: they can be the hidden trigger for hospitalization in older adults. A simple habit, washing your hands, scrubbing gently under the nails, trimming carefully, and keeping them dry, can prevent a spiral of health problems. And for seniors' older adults with diabetes or circulation issues, nail care becomes even more critical, because infections in the feet can easily turn into ulcers or worse. So there you have it, the 5th body part most often overlooked, yet potentially the most dangerous when ignored. The feet, ears, underarms, groin, and nails together form a checklist of things you must not neglect if you want to avoid unnecessary hospital visits. But what do all these stories and facts really teach us? In the final part, we'll reflect on the lessons from these cases and see how small habits can make the biggest difference in living a healthy, independent life after 70. We've now reached the end of our journey, and it's time to reflect on everything we've uncovered together. Think about the 5 body parts we explored: the feet, where a simple crack between the toes can lead to serious infections; the ears, where ignoring the folds behind them can allow bacteria to spread; the underarms, where sweat and friction can trigger painful rashes; the groin area, where embarrassment often keeps seniors' older adults from proper cleaning; and finally, the nails, those small but powerful hiding spots for germs that can grow into dangerous infections. Each of these may seem minor on its own, but taken together, they represent the hidden health traps that most seniors don't realize until it's too late. The stories we shared, Margaret from Denver, James from Austin, Helen from Tampa, Robert from Chicago, Linda from Portland, and George from Cleveland, are not just random examples. They are real reminders that these things happen every day to people who once thought, it's nothing serious. What started as a small itch, a bit of redness, or a patch of dryness turned into infections that stole their independence, sent them to hospitals, and forced them to put their lives on pause. Yet in every case, doctors said the same thing: These problems were preventable with simple daily habits. Science confirms what these stories show. Geriatric studies across the United States and Europe prove that after 70, seniors face higher risks of infection because of weaker circulation, thinner skin, and slower immune response. But the same studies also highlight hope. Consistent hygiene practices, washing, drying, trimming, and checking, dramatically reduce hospital admissions for seniors. In other words, it's not about expensive medicine or complicated treatments. It's about daily habits that most of us can do at home. These are the habits you must adopt if you want to protect your health and keep enjoying the moments that matter most. Now let me ask you, are you still here with me at the very end? If you are, that shows your commitment to your own health and independence. I want you to go down to the comments and type number 6 so I know you've made it all the way through and are part of this community that values wisdom in the golden years. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel Golden Age Wisdom, and share it with someone you love. Because maybe you don't need this information today, but your friend, your neighbor, or even your children caring for you might need it tomorrow. By sharing, you're not just spreading knowledge, you're protecting lives. So here's the final takeaway. Health in your 70s, 80s, and beyond isn't just about big medical things like heart or lungs. It's about the small daily choices, the overlooked details, and the commitment to treat your body with the respect it deserves. Clean these 5 body parts every day, build these habits into your routine, and you will not only avoid infections, you will extend your freedom, your joy, and your time with the people who mean the most to you. Stay wise, stay healthy, and remember, your golden age can be your strongest age if you take the right steps today. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope it was useful, and see you in the next video.